Tune into the Green and Growing program on Eagle Community Television with Holly Dickman, Ellis County Horticulture Agent. Holly will identify common lawn and garden issues and provide up-to-date information weekdays at noon and 9 p.m. on Channel 14. Green and Growing. Brought to you by Eagle Community Television and Riedel's Garden Center, a full-service garden center west of Hayes on Highway 40 next to the Bickles-Schmidt Sports Complex.
Well, this has been an interesting summer once again with extremely dry conditions to start the beginning of our gardening season. Then we had mass amounts of rain in many areas of the state here, and now we're getting into the part of the summer where things have really started taking off. We're getting some produce out of our gardens, and now we're starting to see some of the problems that we have many times throughout the gardening season. But once again, very common to see these types of issues again this summer here, even though the weather's been a little bit different. And one of these problems that I'm getting lots and lots of calls about right now is spider mites. Spider mites are actually a pest that can be a problem on many different types of plants. They can be on just about anything you could think of, but they prefer certain things over others, and one of those would be your junipers in the landscape, chrysanthemums, marigolds they love. In your garden, they particularly like to attack tomatoes and beans. And so I'm going to talk about finding spider mites and how to treat for those. I've been having lots of calls lately about spider mites on tomatoes. And when you have spider mite problems on tomatoes, what you'll notice is usually it starts on the inside of the plant and works its way out. You'll have this stippling effect on the leaves, or almost like a speckled look or dusty look to the leaves. And if you start to investigate really closely, a lot of times they can be on the top side or the underside, but a lot of times it's on the underside of the leaves. And you'll flip that over and you'll notice maybe along the veins or right on the undersides of those leaves, you'll see some slight movement. If you can't see it because they're so tiny, a lot of times you can take a white piece of paper, go up to a branch of your plant where you suspect there might be an issue, and just shake it over the plant, or over the piece of paper, excuse me. And if you see little dots moving around on the plant, then that's a good indication that you might have spider mites of some kind. Now, fortunately on this particular tomato, we're not seeing any, but I have some leaves here that were certainly infested with spider mites from a home visit I did yesterday. And once again, very common problem and can be somewhat difficult to control once they get established. Now, if you keep an eye on your plants, make sure you scout your plants regularly to see if you have any insect issues or mite issues occurring. You can go ahead and get on top of them before they become a huge problem. Once you start to see several leaves with those symptoms I described, or even start to see some fine webbing amongst those leaves or along the veins, that's a sign that that plant is really infested. And so sometimes control is not very practical or very easy on those types of plants, and I would recommend just removing that plant entirely from the garden. Now, spider mites are not insects, they're actually mites. So some of our common insecticides that we like to use on our gardens, such as Sevin or permethrin, will actually make the problem worse. So that's not what you want to apply to get rid of spider mites. You want to actually use a labeled miticide, or in many cases we recommend insecticidal soap or horticultural oil. And these are things that you'd have to apply several times over the course of 4 to 5 days to have some control there. If you have questions about spider mites or maybe other things affecting your garden plants, don't hesitate to contact your local extension office for more information. Reporting for K-State Research and Extension and Eagle TV, I'm Holly Dickman, Ellis County Horticulture Extension Agent.
Tune into the Green and Growing program on Eagle Community Television with Holly Dickman, Ellis County Horticulture Agent. Holly will identify common lawn and garden issues and provide up-to-date information weekdays at noon and 9 p.m. on Channel 14. Green and Growing. Brought to you by Eagle Community Television and Riedel's Garden Center, a full-service garden center west of Hayes on Highway 40 next to the Bickles-Schmidt Sports Complex.